Hey, we're doing a walk and talk with a real camera. This is kind of interesting to hold up a not a phone, not a selfie stick, but an actual camera. But just realizing that I've keep telling you guys to make video, and I'm not making any fucking videos for you guys. It's been an interesting last couple of months. Really doubling down on content editing and creating content for different brands and different people for different reasons and events and things like that. And we're coming close onto some really cool stuff. So we're back in the Bat Cave, as it were. And let me see. I didn't think about this. I'm holding on to you guys, and I don't know where I'm gonna set you because I took you off the tripod, and we're gonna wing it here. We're gonna wing it. We're gonna wing it. I'm gonna set. Oh, that's awful. Hey, we're kind of on a lean, but hey, just like I said, just make it work. Press the red button. So, we've got like 1750, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 50 pieces of content that have gone out in the last month that I've been paid for or been contracted to do, or I'm doing pro bono or whatever the case may be. That's like sound like a whole lot, but it's been a whole lot. It's really hard to make content, especially when you're making content for other people. Which is to say, making content for yourself is a whole lot easier. So if you're not doing it, that's the hard part. Getting from 0 to 1. And I keep saying, oh, okay, you just gotta press record, Sometimes it's really hard, right? Sometimes it's really hard. You don't have a whole lot of time, and you don't have a lot of energy, and you're already putting in all of this and this and this and this for work, and then you've got to come home and you've got family and this and this and this and this and that. You know what I mean? It's really busy, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. So one of the things that helps me overcome that is anytime I've got an idea in my head, I write it down in the notes in my phone, and then when I'm bored because of autism and ADHD, I go, okay, let's go. Scroll through it and make something. Whether it's a video or it's a piece of text or it's an image or whatever, I'll take a selfie or blah, 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 and go into Canva and turn that into something. And let's go back to the thing that I said that was the important bit. Let me see, and I'll have to figure out how to... See, all this little bits, you gotta figure out how to do things as you go. Because I didn't script. I had an idea in my head, and I wanted to get it out, and I knew if I didn't do it, I wasn't gonna do it. Right, so that's kind of maybe the quasi-second step. First step is if you've got an idea, but you can't do it at the moment, write it down. Little notes app in your phone. Doesn't matter whether you're Android or Apple user, it doesn't matter. Write it down in your notes. Idea. There are 3 takeaways that every service advisor should know on this kind of work order, or this kind of customer, or this kind of car. 3 things. And then you go boom, 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 and you write them down, those 3 things. And then when you have the opportunity to go and talk about those things, you set up your camera or your phone or whatever, and you record it, right? You sit down and you record it. And you could record a lot. Like, this is probably going to be way longer than you'll ever see. Way, way, way longer than you'll ever see. But if you record it, and you record a lot, you can chop it together and make things work. You can do all kinds of woo transitions and things like that. But I think that was really it, right? The thing that you really need to do if you want to get to that understanding of what just press record means have an idea. And I think I posted a little bit about this previously, and I don't know how to cut this together, but a while back, I watched Tom Hanks on stage talking about his career and things that he learned. And he was on the stage for a movie, I guess, and he's forgotten his lines and so forth, and it's like, what's the line? And the director, I don't remember who the director of that particular movie was, but I don't know how to act. right? The director's like, I don't know how to act. I'm here to direct. The things that I know is, as your job as an actor is to know the text, have an idea, and show up. Those 3 things. And you know it. Well, in this circumstance, we're talking about knowing what we're wanting to talk about, right? Having an idea, then knowing the text, what are we going to talk about, right? And showing up and actually doing it. Those are the 3 things that you need to be doing. You want to press record? You want to get to the next level and start making content for yourself, right? Have an idea, get some text written, and then just start doing it. So we're talking about all kinds of different ways that you can gather ideas together, right? We're trying to understand what the first step is, right? In understanding what the first step of pressing record means. We got not nearly enough light in here. That's problem number 1. We're gonna turn on the light. Hey, that's a little bit better light. So now when we sit like this, hey, I'm lit from up front. I got a little bit of lighting up behind. I'm not lit per se, but I don't know. We come down to some interesting hues and we squat right down and we talk like this, and right, we don't know what's going on. Sometimes we really don't know what's going on. We don't know where we're going, what we're doing, but we get so busy. We want to make content and we want to generate an experience for somebody online, whether it's for potential customers, for our service department or our dealerships or our business. Perhaps we're a vendor and we sell to dealerships or to anybody for that matter. We want to generate content for that, and you hear myself and John Resurrection and anybody else that talks about just hit the red button because video is here to stay. It's a great form of medium. You get to see the face, you get to hear the face, you get to see the facial expressions and all of those kinds of things that you don't get to see and feel in any other capacity, even when it's audio only, right? Even when it's audio only, you don't get all of those things. So doing video is kind of the best part of all of those things. Now, it's really hard to be engaging in some circumstances, right? You don't know whether you can talk, you don't know whether you're fun, you don't know whether you're boring, and you think, I'm the most boring person on the planet. And you know what? Sometimes maybe you really are the most boring person on the planet, but more than likely, you've got something to say that somebody somewhere needs to hear for some reason. And that's why it's so hard to create content. You don't know what to make. And what I recently found is I don't really care what you guys kind of think, because I make it for me, right? I gotta make content for me. Because if I don't make content for me, I'm gonna get bored real fast. And then it becomes a chore. And I don't want it to become a chore. Because it's kind of like what happens when we become mechanics, right? We think, I love working on cars, right? I like working on bikes and stuff like that too, but I like working on cars. Maybe I want to do working on cars for a living. And then time goes by. 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by, and you fix hundreds, thousands of cars. And all of a sudden it's a job. It's a career, but it's a job. And then I don't really love working on them anymore. I don't really want to work on cars anymore. And then we have a problem, right? Now you have a whole bunch of mechanics who loved working on cars. And then it turned into a job. And it turned into a career. And then they realized that they've fallen out of love with cars. And now they don't want to fix cars anymore. And now we have an industry of people who are feeling taken advantage of and are walking away from fixing cars because they've fallen out of love with fixing cars. So we don't want you to fall out of love with making content. We want you to have fun doing it. So doing it for you. Now, are you making content to try and drive some kind of traffic and audience to your business? You still got to be doing something that you love doing. If you don't like making content, then you probably shouldn't be making content. But at the same time, best way to generate traffic to your website, to your business, is content. So Round the way, the first step to making content, pressing that red button, what do you do first? Well, don't press the red button first. You gotta come up with a list of things you want to talk about. And maybe I said too much, maybe I said too little, and maybe it was a little bit clusterbrained in here, and hopefully I'm getting good enough that the editing afterwards that you guys are going to understand what I've been talking about this whole time. But you need to have an idea. You need to know the text. You need to show up. So your first thing before you hit the red button is have an idea. What do you want to talk about? What's that idea? I'd love to hear it. Actually, even better, I'd love to see it.